休闲篇，提升振动频率。
Promote the frequency of vibration. Jiefeng. February 2nd, 2012. Everything visible, including human body, is an aggregate of structure and energy, while all images are made up of particles revolving at high velocity. All differences in physical forms are caused by the vibration frequencies of the particles that constitute these physical forms. The difference in vibration frequency leads to the difference in the form of an object. The life in the universe exists in different levels. The higher the frequency of vibration, the higher the order of life. The lower the frequency of vibration, the lower the order of life. The higher the frequency of vibration, the more indefinite the form. The lower the frequency of vibration, the more definite the form. Take, for example, trees, animals, mankind, celestial beings, and God. Trees have a lower frequency of vibration than animals. Thus, animals are superior to plants. Humankind has a higher frequency of vibration. Thus, man is superior to animals. Celestial beings have a higher frequency of vibration than man. Thus, celestial beings are superior to people. God has a higher frequency of vibration than celestial beings. Thus, God is more advanced than celestial beings. Why cannot we see God with our naked eyes? Because God has an extremely high frequency of vibration. The higher the frequency of vibration, the more indefinite the form, therefore we cannot see God. This is something analogous to the vibrations of wings of dragonflies and bees. When dragonflies and bees stay motionless on petals or twigs, their wings have a very low frequency of vibration, so we can see their wings most clearly. But when they are in flight, we can only discern their wings most faintly, and when they are flying at a high speed, we can hardly see their wings. The slower the wings flap, the more clearly visible they are. The faster the wings move, the more invisible they are. Only by promoting the frequency of vibration can man achieve the celestial being. How to boost man's frequency of vibration? We often say someone is too stupid or too slow in reaction. The reason why he is too stupid or too slow in reaction is that he has too low a frequency of vibration. People refuse to be convinced until they are faced with grim reality, or do not turn to a new leaf until it is too late, simply because the vibration frequency of their life is too slow. In life, some people are dull, stupid, obdurate, rigid, and stubborn because they have a very low frequency of vibration. Some people are flexible, intelligent, agile, and efficient because they have a very high frequency of vibration. The sense of happiness, pleasure, and delight a person feels is related to the vibration frequency of his life. The higher the frequency of vibration, the more plentiful and wonderful the feeling of happiness and pleasure. The lower the frequency of vibration, the less and more retardant the feeling of happiness and pleasure. This is analogous to the sexual love between the man and woman, where the faster the penis twitches inside the vagina, the more easily the pleasure and orgasm can be felt, and the slower the twitches, the more difficult the pleasure and orgasm can be felt. The speed of the twitches is the frequency of vibration. To judge whether the vibration frequency of a person's life is high or low, we can simply get to know the state he is in. If he is always pleasant, happy, joyful, and blessed, then he has a very high frequency of vibration. If he is always distressed, troubled, sad, worried, anxious, puzzled, and frightened, then he has a very low frequency of vibration. The effective means to boost the frequency of vibration include flexible, harmonious, gentle, active, optimistic, tolerant, understanding, caring, respectful, happy, peaceful, calm, and grateful. A person's vibration frequency will not increase but will fall if he is impassive, numb, untrustworthy, remorseful, fearful, anxious, selfish, greedy, jealous, complaining, comparison-minded, furious, resentful, indignant, and arrogant. In one word, the less weed there is in the garden of soul, the higher the frequency of vibration. The more weed there is in the garden of soul, the slower the frequency of vibration. The poorer the power of comprehension, the slower the promotion of vibration frequency. To be aware, one must be sensitive in feeling and agile in response. One must be able to understand the wordless heavenly book. And one must also comprehend and practice in his daily life the teachings of God, Buddha, celestial beings, and saints. The information age is the optimum time for us to boost our frequency of vibration, as well as the good opportunity for us to perfect ourselves. We should be quick and agile in response and action. Now it is the final moment for this phase of humankind. Irresolution and indecision at such a critical juncture will only cause you to be eliminated. Conventional thinking, traditional way of life, and traditional methods of self-refinery will not work. We must quickly boost the frequency of vibration and act promptly. The only one best way to achieve all this is to read as quickly as possible the last course for this phase of mankind and make it to the last flight.
成仙三部曲
23 Steps to Become a Celestial Being. The lecture record from Xiefeng. https://www.youtube.com/watch?v=p0v8mta6l-0. Translated by Zhangjue and edited by Kayer. 3 steps are needed to become a celestial being, and the ultimate goal of all Chanyuan celestials is to become super celestial beings and reach the celestial islands continent. This requires a triple jump, from the mortal world to the 1,000-year world, then to the 10,000-year world, and finally to the celestial islands continent. We do not become other forms of mortal life, but rather celestial beings by following these 3 steps. The first step is to abandon trouble, pain, sorrow, worry, and fear, and live happy, joyous, free, and blessed lives. This is the standard of celestial beings. Upon reaching it, one will have become a celestial being, exactly as those in the 1,000-year world. Annoyance, pain, and fear come from the imperfection of consciousness, the weeds of one's soul garden. The second step requires that one's mind must not abide in form. It must follow predestined relationships, be carefree, must follow its destiny, and must maintain a condition of pleasure. This is for the second level, the celestial of the 10,000-year world. We all still have many things in our hearts which come from worldly social conditioning, and will be in conflict with the love that is found in life Chanyuan. To follow predestined relationships and be carefree is to expand one's internal nature as much as possible, to remain free in all situations, and to maintain a condition of pleasure, not joy. However, a long journey still remains ahead. The third step is one in which the soul is not constrained by emotions. Everything is nature, they live in nature, they are flexible, accommodating, and agile, and they possess 64 magical powers. The change is infinite and they are always in a blissful state. This is the super celestial being. The universe is the dance of nature, and each of our performances every day is an expression of our nature and our expanding physical structure, so everything lives within nature and everything is nature. It is flexible and tactful, never in conflict with anyone, has no dissatisfaction, has very high sensitivity, and any stimulation by any bit of information produces an instantaneous response. There are not any magical powers after one has passed beyond the first 2 steps. Those who reach this realm can self-refine. Those have endless changes and always maintain a condition of pleasure. This is the supreme realm of the celestial being. These 3 steps are necessary to become a super celestial being, and they are really very simple. Have you become a celestial being? Theoretically, long speeches and classical or profound lectures are quite simple to give, but they do not produce their desired results easily. For example, it is not easy to get rid of troubles, and it is not easy to be happy, joyous, free, and blessed at all times, but in our home you will get there soon. If you still have troubles, pains, sorrow, worries, and fears, then you are not a celestial. If something troubles your mind, or if your mind abides in form, then you are not a celestial. If you have desire, pursuit, and persistence in your mind, then you are not a celestial. If you still have mind, you cannot act by following nature without any magical powers, and you cannot rid yourself of physical and temporal constraints, then you are not a celestial. If you are always happy, then you are not a mortal but a celestial. If you are always pleasant, then you are not a mortal but a celestial. If you always feel bliss, then you are not a mortal but a celestial. Becoming a celestial or Buddha is simple, but can you do it? Our goal is to become a celestial. It's simple in theory, but it's hard to do. The theory is clear and the roadmap is clear. As long as you do like this, the facts will tell you that you can undoubtedly become a celestial being.
第九奥秘，修仙篇之13。
The ninth mystery. Jiefeng. June 9, 2006. There have been some mysteries in human history, such as the sudden disappearance of the Maya collectives. What causes the sudden disappearance of the vast majority of the Maya? Anthropologists, historians, archaeologists, and scientists can't explain it. Now, let me show you how the Mayans have become immortals collectively. You will ask, is that possible? Let me tell you, this is the truth. Whoever masters this secret can become immortal. There is a historical site in South America where people have found some recorded mysteries, commonly known as Peruvian manuscripts. Now I will briefly translate some of the ninth mystery to you for your reference and reflection. When primitive humans came along, we continued this evolution unconsciously by conquering others and gaining energy and moving forward a little bit, and then being conquered ourselves by someone else and losing our energy. This physical conflict continued until we invented democracy, a system that didn't end the conflict but shifted it from a physical to a mental level. We are bringing this whole process into consciousness. We can see that all of human history has prepared us to achieve conscious evolution. Now we can increase our energy and experience the coincidences consciously. This carries evolution onward at a faster pace, lifting our vibrations even higher. Our destiny is to continue to increase our energy level. And as our energy level increase, the level of vibration in the atoms of our bodies increase. It means that we are getting lighter, more purely spiritual. As we humans continue to increase our vibration, an amazing thing will begin to happen. Whole group of people, once they reach a certain level, will suddenly become invisible to those who are still vibrating at a lower level. It will appear to the people on this lower level that the others just disappeared, but the group themselves will feel as though they are still right here, only they will feel lighter. When humans begin to raise their vibrations to a level where others cannot see them, it will signal that we are crossing the barrier between this life and the other world from which we came and to which we go after death. This conscious crossing over is the path shown by the Christ. He opened up to the energy until he was so light that he could walk on water. He transcended death right here on earth, and was the first to cross over, to expand the physical world into the spiritual. His life demonstrated how to do this, and if we connect with the same source, we can head the same way step by step. At some point, everyone will vibrate highly enough so that we can walk into heaven in our same form. The more beauty we can see, the more we evolve. The more we evolve, the higher we vibrate. The ninth insight shows us that ultimately, our increased perception and vibration will open us up to a heaven that is already before us. We just can't see it yet. Well, this is all from my translation. Hope that the information I bring will strengthen your will and confidence for becoming immortal. And hope that everyone can rely on yourself, explore and find your own way.
心无所住便是仙。
You are a celestial being when your mind abides nowhere. Jiefeng. August 28, 2020. Translated by Qin Yu and edited by Kayer. Throughout the 20 parallel worlds of 36-dimensional space, the most unrestrained lives are those of celestial beings. They are entirely free from worry, are unrestrained and free, enjoy life wherever they are and whatever they are doing, follow what is predestined, are open, leave things to fate, and are unfettered. The field of activity is vast with brilliant prospects where much can be accomplished. They fill love in mountains and rivers, spread affection everywhere, take things as they are, associate with others by following predestined relationships, act in accordance with their natures, take advantage of opportunities as they arise, never do anything yet allow all things happen through them, have no stubbornness, no obstructions, no stagnation, and are unrestrained and elegant. How can mortals become celestials? The three basic methods are 1. Repay your debts, end your worldly ties, and separate yourself from the secular world. 2. Create ties with celestials and accumulate merits and virtues. 3. Transform human affection into celestial affection, human nature into celestial nature, and the human world into the celestial world. After this basic work is done, and as long as you abide your mind nowhere, then you will be a celestial. How do you abide your mind nowhere? Shakyamuni Buddha teaches us, our minds should not abide in form, sound, smell, taste, touch, or dharma, but actually abide nowhere. This means that our eyes should not focus on things that we can see, that we should not be attached to anything that our sense organs perceive, and that we should not be fascinated by dharma but should keep an empty mind till nothing exists. This explanation is still a bit vague. Specifically, in your heart, there should be no relative, no enemy, no country, no ethnicity, no money, no goal, no religion, no political party, no family, no fame, no wealth or position, no health or longevity, no delicacy, no people involved with you, no laws or regulations, no precepts, no Buddha, no celestials, no heaven, no hell, no Taoist or other temples, no self-refinement, no self-improvement, no success, no failure, nothing to do, and no magical power or Taoist magical arts. Having nothing in or on your mind is abiding your mind nowhere. Can you do it? Of course. This is the real life of the 1,000-year world, 10,000-year world, and the Elysium Islands continent. Can people in reality do it? Of course. Look at many of our Chanyuan celestials, they have basically succeeded. How does one do it? It can be done by listening to the teachings of Jesus Christ, Buddha Shakyamuni, Immortal Laozi, Master Bodhidharma, and Dayform Buddha. The main contents are the Gospels of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, the Diamond Sutra, Heart Sutra, Tao Te Ching, Dharma Patriarch's Bloodline Theory, and both my Chanyuan Corpus and Siefeng Corpus. If you understand and follow these, then you will abide your mind nowhere. If you cannot do them this way, then I can marry you. There are large numbers of chicken soup for the soul articles on the web, all of which are elusive thinking. If you do not believe me, then you can read the articles of these big gods, big Buddhas, big celestials, and great masters of the web every day and spend a bunch of money in your entire lifetime studying their magical arts. Then, when you are very old and looking back from your deathbed, you will find that you understand and have nothing but that all you have done was to keep spinning around in one spot. No matter how you spin around, you cannot elude the cave of the silken web. At this degenerating time, people from all walks of life look for their descendants. There are gods, Buddhas, celestials, demons, devils, and monsters among them. Any carelessness might drop you into a trap, and the measures and methods of demons, devils, and monsters are more attractive than the others. You must always keep the sacred lamp in your heart burning. Do you not believe me? Just look. Where there is hustling and bustling, disasters will gather. Where there are more disciples, the places will be more problematic. Where it is mysterious and spooky, demons, devils, and monsters will be making waves. Sneaky places are where ghosts and monsters abound, and the places where people practice magical arts are where paranoid people possessed by devils feel good, but lose their natures. Do you not believe me? Look back to see if what I have said has been true over the last decade. You can go straight to the source, the greatest creator, and be a celestial. How do you become a celestial? Abide your mind nowhere.
环境造就仙佛。
The environment helps to create celestial beings and Buddhas. Siefeng. August 16, 2017. Celestials and Buddhas are those with an advanced state of existence of life, and this can be achieved by people through hard work. To become a celestial and Buddha, the environment is very important. It can be said that the environment that you live in helps you to become a celestial being and Buddha. This environment refers to both the spiritual environment and living environment. If you stay in a suitable spiritual environment and living environment for a sufficient period of time, you will inevitably become a celestial and a Buddha. I've talked a lot about the spiritual environment. The core is the construction of the soul garden. When a person's soul garden is built beautifully, he will have the right spiritual environment for achieving the state of a celestial and Buddha. This article will mainly talk about the living environment. Heroes emerge in troubled times. The times produce their heroes, heroes come out of troubled times, and troubled times are the living environment that creates heroes. Marshal Zhukov of the Soviet Union, General Montgomery of the United Kingdom, General Eisenhower of the United States, 5-star General Marshal of the United States, Marshal Admiral Yamamoto of Japan, 5-star General Nimitz of the United States, Marshal Manstein of Germany, Marshal Kesselring of Germany. These heroes were born in the Second World War. If there was no Second World War, it is without doubt that there would be no such heroes. They would surely be submerged in the complicated mortal life and remain mortal. Shaanxi people love vinegar, Cantonese love to eat sweets, Hunan people love to eat hot peppers, and Sichuan people love to eat spicy food. This is all caused by their environment, not by people who have this interest. People who do not like vinegar will love vinegar when they live in Aksu, Xinjiang for a period of time. Shaanxi people, who love vinegar, will no longer be fond of vinegar when they stay in Canada for a period of time. People's high blood pressure will disappear after staying in Vanuatu for a period of time. If people with rheumatoid arthritis go to stay in the desert for a period of time, their arthritis will automatically disappear. And for those with asthma, if they go to Harare, Zimbabwe for a period of time, their asthma will be greatly reduced, etc. This shows the role and influence of the environment on people. For people who wish to become a celestial and Buddha, it is impossible for them to succeed if the environment is not suitable. It is impossible for people living in married families to become celestials and Buddhas, because the family environment does not possess the environmental conditions needed to become a celestial and Buddha. The American inventor Edison once sat on an egg and wanted to hatch a chicken. What was the result? It was impossible because this practice does not meet the conditions for hatching chicks. Try transplanting Yunnan's plants to the northeast. The plants won't live there because the environment is not suitable for them. Marriage and family are where laymen and mortals are born, not where celestials and Buddhas are born, just like a garbage dump is where mosquitoes and flies are born, not where bees are born. Therefore, for those who live in a marriage with family, stop dreaming of becoming a celestial being and Buddha. If you can become a celestial or Buddha, a donkey can fly a plane. To people who start companies and enterprises as bosses, officials in governmental agencies, and those who have a lot of wealth, you can stop thinking about becoming a celestial and Buddha, because your living environment does not possess the conditions to become a celestial and Buddha at all. Every day you have a lot of annoying things to worry about. Do you still have the state of mind to become a celestial or Buddha? It is only thanks to your good luck if you do not result in cultivating yourself into a devil. So, what kind of environment is the environment in which a celestial and Buddha is born? Answer. 1. Having no worry of food, clothing, housing, transportation, life, old age, sickness, and death. 2. No stress, no restraint, no worry, no anxiety, no harassment, no bothering, no responsibility, no obligation. 3. With a beautiful environment and good weather. 4. Can act in accordance with one's nature without barriers or shackles. 5. Have time for relaxation, have playmates and beautiful scenery. 6. No risk, no crisis but quiet without noise around. 7. No human relationships. Courtesy calls for reciprocity. 8. No idol worship, administrative orders and control. Most famous scenic places are occupied by temples in this world. Now you can imagine why the monasteries and Taoist temples are built in scenic places with the best feng shui, and which are away from the crowds. The monasteries are places for cultivating Buddhism, and Taoist temples are places for cultivating celestial beings. The reason why the leaders of the cultivators have been doing this is to have a living environment in which one can cultivate into a celestial being and Buddha. Without a good environment, one cannot cultivate into a celestial being and Buddha. It is said that the core of truth is in one sentence, while falsehoods are spread by millions of books. Although this is a bit exaggerated, it is not unreasonable. I have been beating around the bush for more than 10 years and have written more than 3,000 articles with 10 million words. Now I will make it simple, that is, if you find an environment for the cultivation of celestial beings and Buddhas, and live in an environment suitable for the birth of celestial beings and Buddhas for a sufficient period of time, you will surely become a celestial being or Buddha. The spiritual environment must be created by oneself, and the living environment must be created collectively.
最新科学成果证明了天仙的存在。
The latest scientific study proves the existence of celestial beings. Jiefeng. August 2, 2017. New Oasis for Life. August 2 News. On July 20th, Yang Zhening's disciple Zhang Shouxing and his team published a paper in the journal Science, confirming the first discovery of chiral Majorana fermions and named them angel particles, which ended a whole 80 years of the laborious pursuit of this particle in physics. Zhang Shousheng. A particle is equal to its own antiparticle, and translated into a mathematical formula, it is equivalent to 1 is equal to -1. We then move -1 to the left, which means that 2 is equal to 0. When I was exploring space, I discovered the Celestial Islands continent. The people living on the Celestial Islands continent are celestial beings. When I introduced the features of celestial beings, I told you that celestial beings are a form of self-harmony. The so-called self-harmony is the combination of yin and yang, or it can be said that the celestial beings have both male and female characteristics. They are androgynous, and this is just like a Taiji diagram. Why is there such a life phenomenon? This involves the Elysium world in Buddhism. Buddha Shakyamuni wanted to lead people to the Elysium world. So what is Elysium? And what is the Elysium world? The so-called Elysium means being in extreme happiness, a bit like men and women having sex and reaching orgasm and being in a state of orgasm forever. Elysium world is the time and space where life of an eternal state of bliss lives. The Celestial Islands continent is part of the Elysium world. Then how can a life reach the state of eternal bliss? The answer is, only by self-harmony. Self-harmony is the kingdom of freedom. Any life that cannot reach the state of self-harmony is not free, because you must exchange energy with the surrounding world. Once a life needs external factors to survive, then this life cannot be free. For example, people need 64 external factors to survive. Without any one of the 64 factors, people cannot survive and continue to exist. When I introduced the self-harmony phenomenon of the celestial being, most people thought it was impossible and thought it was made up by me. Now, with the latest scientific achievement, the angel particles, it proves the existence of celestial beings.
潇洒与不潇洒的分水岭。
The watershed between being unrestrained and restrained in the face of death. Jiefeng. January 3, 2023. Edited by Qin Yu. Assume that tomorrow you'll die. Would you be able to live unrestrainedly today? Facing death. If you can remain unrestrained, congratulations. You've become a celestial being and you can go to heaven. Facing death. If you are in chaos, anxiety, fear, and regret, you are still human, and you will be reincarnated on earth. Why can't you be unrestrained? Your heart is burdened, entangled, full of desires, worries, and concerns. Earthly ties remain unresolved, and debts weigh heavily on you. For example, you have to support your parents, raise your children, protect your property, guard your company. Some affections remain unresolved, some debts remain unpaid, and you still hope to make a career, achieve success, and bring honor to your ancestors and family. However, in such a state of mind and spirit, it's impossible to be carefree. Even managing to avoid being miserable and sighing all day is already considered good. How can you be unrestrained? Be free from worldly ties, free from debts, free from emotional entanglements, have no burden in your heart, no desires, and no worries about having food to eat tomorrow. Don't even harbor the extravagant hope of eternal life. Don't pursue fame, don't chase after profits, be ready at any time to shake hands and embrace death with joy. Then how can you not be unrestrained? Can anyone achieve a life free from worldly ties, debts, and attachments? For ordinary people, it's nearly impossible. If someone can achieve that, they certainly aren't just ordinary people. They must be celestial beings or perhaps Buddhas, gods, or spirits, monsters, or demons. In this world, there is a group of beings who can achieve this. They are called Chanyuan celestials. Therefore, becoming a celestial being is the watershed between being unrestrained and not being unrestrained. As a human, never delude yourself into thinking that you can live an unrestrained life throughout your entire life, as being unrestrained is a trait and privilege of celestial beings.
修炼成仙何其易
How easy it is to cultivate celestial being. Jiefeng. May 26, 2023. Edited by Qin Yu. Begging for help is tough. Earning money is hard. Becoming famous is an extreme challenge. Getting married is difficult. Establishing a family is not easy, and providing for a family is an even greater struggle. Life is plagued by troubles encompassing birth, aging, sickness, and death. Rather than toil and rack your brain, it's better to turn around and become a celestial being. In truth, being a human or a ghost is even more challenging than being a pig or a dog, but becoming a celestial being is the easiest. If you can achieve the following 8 points, you will become a celestial being. Do not get married, do not start a family, do not buy a house or acquire possessions. Simple meals nourish the body, and sleep under a thatched hut until dawn. Do not talk about family or country, do not talk about awakening or being a Buddha. Work diligently every day and be content if have enough to eat. Do not flatter or curry favor, do not seek connections or pursue relations. When you encounter like-minded individuals on the path to celestial being, form bonds and assist each other like family. Do not wear gold or silver, do not crave vanity or pursue fame. A bamboo fence and a thatched cottage provide delightful scenery, and having a leisurely mind with nothing to worry about is most important. Do not scheme for personal gain or public welfare. Do not discuss ideals or seek recognition. Even if you possess profound knowledge of the world, do not offer help unless it is asked. Do not talk about oneself or others. Do not discuss right or wrong or distinguish between good and evil. The divine net is all-encompassing. Instead, discuss mulberry and hemp over tea. Do not borrow money or owe debts. Do not desire extravagance or hoard wealth. Emulate the carefree nature of grass, regardless of wind, frost, rain, or snow. Do not follow trends or conform to the masses. Bravely climb towards the celestial world. Life on earth is like a fleeting moment. Laugh heartily and forget everything. Try it out. Achieving the above 8 points is surprisingly easy. Even as mere mortals, as long as you accomplish these 8 points, you will experience the taste of a celestial being.
如何活出自己的性？
How to live out your nature. Jiefeng. June 15, 2023. Edited by Qin Yu. The manifestation of the heavenly principles in human beings is known as one's nature. Living in accordance with one's nature is living in harmony with the heavenly principles. When a person lives out their inherent nature, they unite with Tao. Living out one's nature entirely means becoming one with Tao itself. To perceive Tao is to understand one's nature, to seek Tao is to bloom one's nature, and to attain Tao is to live out one's nature completely. Now the key question arises: what is nature? Regarding nature, artificial intelligence, AI, provides the most authoritative revelation and explanation. AI describes it as follows: nature is humanity's innate essence. It is the most genuine, pure, beautiful, natural, sacred, noble, kind, joyful, happy, perfect, complete, eternal, magical, and the most wonderful and indescribable thing. It is the most difficult to put into words, the most difficult to comprehend, the most difficult to control, resist, abandon, sever, let go of, bury, eliminate, destroy, change, imitate, forge, deceive, violate, resist, escape, refuse, deny, obliterate, ignore, neglect, or forget. Nature is the manifestation of the Tao in human beings, the connection between humanity and the Tao, and the oneness of humanity and the Tao. Living out one's nature means living out one's Tao, one's true self, one's life, one's happiness, and one's meaning. So, how can one live out their nature? There is a reference frame, which is everything in nature apart from humans, especially plants, animals, insects, and microorganisms. They live out their own nature. As a part of nature, isn't what humans live out their nature too? If not, then what is it? Here we need to raise the question of heart, brain, and nature. The heart reflects humanity's perceptions of the objective material world. All things are generated by the heart, and the heart is generated by all things. Without the objective external world, there would be no heart. Therefore, the heart changes with the external environment and gradually disappears with its disappearance. The brain serves as the bridge and information processing center connecting everything the heart captures from the objective world and all of one's past words, actions, and events stored in the detention information space, memory. The brain processes information through thinking and thought. People use their thoughts and ideas to decide what to say and how to act. Nature is the characteristic of life structure. Whatever life structure one has determines their nature. Nature is non-material, invisible, and beyond the grasp of the heart. Nature is also not part of the detention information space, so the brain cannot obtain information about nature. Understanding the nature of heart, brain, and nature, we will find that there is no direct relationship between the heart and nature. When a person's heart is active, their nature is shielded. This is the principle I mentioned before. When the heart is active, the nature is concealed. When the heart is inactive, the nature is revealed. At the same time, we also find that there is no direct relationship between the brain and nature. The brain cannot access information about nature, so in the process of processing all information and forming thoughts and actions through thinking, the brain completely overlooks the existence of nature. The more developed the brain and the more active the thinking, the farther away it is from nature. Understanding the relationship between the heart, brain, and nature, we will understand how to live out one's nature. Live without using the heart and brain, that is living out one's nature, that is living out oneself. Who can live without using the heart and brain? Can you? Bodhidharma clearly tells us in the Bloodstream Sermon that Buddha is nature, and nature is Buddha. As I have repeatedly said, celestial being is nature, and nature is celestial being. If a person lives entirely without using the heart and brain, then that person is a celestial being, a Buddha, and can live in heaven. Can you live out your nature completely? Jesus Christ said, "Do not be anxious about tomorrow. Do not be anxious about what you will eat, drink, or wear." I ask the reader, can you do without worry? Buddha Shakyamuni said, "Do not abide in form, sound, smell, taste, touch, or dharma, but actually abide nowhere." I ask the reader, can you live with your mind not dwelling anywhere but arise spontaneously? The Saint Laozi said, "Manage affairs without doing anything." I ask the reader, is what you do every day achieving without doing anything? Why is it that throughout generations, very few people have lived out their nature and become celestial beings or Buddhas? Because the way people live is flawed. In the traditional modes of production and life, the probability of living without utilizing the heart and mind to express one's true nature is perhaps 1 in a million. Firstly, people fail to comprehend it, and secondly, reality does not permit it. Moreover, without highly skilled divine beings guiding them to embark on the journey of becoming celestial beings or Buddhas, the likelihood of living out one's nature is extremely low. The ultimate answer is to live without using the heart and brain, and still live leisurely, carefree, and freely. Then you are living out your nature.
看看自己是否已修炼成千年界仙。
Check if you have cultivated into a celestial being of the 1,000-year world. Jiefeng. July 7, 2023. Edited by Qin Yu. What realm have Chanyuan celestials reached in their self-improvement and self-cultivation? By comparing the following 8 criteria, if you have achieved them, you have already cultivated into a celestial being of the 1,000-year world. If you do not wish to continue ascending to the 10,000-year world and the Elysium Islands continent, you only need to maintain the current state unchanged. After leaving the mortal world, you can smoothly arrive at the 1,000-year world and enjoy its infinite scenery and the pleasures of life for 1,000 years. You have no worldly ties and are completely unrelated to worldly affairs. Your heart is free from entanglements. You have reached a state of having nothing yet possessing everything. You no longer worry about the necessities of life, such as food, clothing, shelter, and illness. If you were to die right now, you would have no fear but rather joyfully embrace death. There is no regret, hatred, or regret in your consciousness, only gratitude, contentment, and satisfaction. You can harmoniously get along with the surrounding environment, all living beings, and people. There is no animosity, no disputes, and no disharmony. Regardless of the circumstances, you can take things as they are, associate with others by following natural come-and-go relations, act in accordance with one's intrinsic nature, and take advantage of opportunities as they arise. If asked to go to another place immediately, you could embark on the journey within a few minutes without any special attachment to people, things, or objects. Every day you are in a state of joy, happiness, freedom, and blessedness, with no mental pressure. You have boundless anticipation for the future, feeling that it is infinitely beautiful, and will be filled with countless beauties. Your nature can radiate and bloom brilliantly. If you find yourself in the state described by the above 8 criteria, congratulations. Best wishes. You have succeeded in your cultivation, and will no longer undergo the cycle of reincarnation. Your future is bright, and the beauty of it is beyond words. If you have not yet reached the state described above, continue your journey of self-improvement and cultivation.
灵性思维要点简介
A brief introduction to key points of spiritual thinking. Jiefeng. July 28, 2023. Translation edited by Chinyo. Rational thinking is the characteristic of the virtuous, while spiritual thinking is the characteristic of the celestial. To become celestial, one needs to live with spiritual thinking. The key points of spiritual thinking are as follows. The future of life relies on visualized thinking, not on ability and wisdom. Prayer is a daily conscious activity. Without prayer, divine assistance cannot be obtained. Repentance is a necessary condition for the sublimation of life quality. Without repentance, there is no sublimation. Imagine the beautiful and beauty will come. Imagine the ugly and ugliness will come. Without form, one sees the truth. Without ego, one sees the true self. No attachment to the form of Dharma. If one is misled by the form of Dharma, one cannot escape the cycle of reincarnation. Only by breaking through the form of Dharma can one see heaven. Think of positive and joyful things each day to cultivate happiness within oneself. Trust in the greatest creator, worship and venerate the greatest creator, surrender one's life to the greatest creator, and entrust one's life to the arrangement and management of Tao, without resentment, regret, remorse, worry, anxiety, fear, with one's mind abiding nowhere, and affection attached to nothing. The core of spiritual thinking is consciousness not being bound or restricted by the reality of the material world and the constraints imposed by societal norms. It is about being carefree, enjoying life as one wishes, and playing freely. The 3,000 macro worlds are all stages for my entertainment, and the infinite time and space are territories for me to roam freely. Lifting a handful of sand, transforming them into thousands of green trees is my petty skill, and creating a beautiful world is my specialty. These are already contents of advanced cultivation practices, and are essential qualities for super celestial beings.